So I'm going to explain about the topic, being the moderator, take the advantage, use as much talk time as I can. So, from my perspective, the topic is about the shift of data to decisions in the AI era represents the transition of HR from descriptive reporting to predictive and prescriptive workforce intelligence. People analytics powered by AI enables organizations to model human capital outcomes, stimulate risk, and embed talent insights directly into strategic business decisions. The real power lies not in algorithms, but in translating computational insight into blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I just lost track. It was so much of information overload, so much of Gen AI content that I already lost context of why am I here. So let me tell you, friends, I'm here for a very simple thing. And it starts with a story. A couple of years back, I was presenting to my CEO and my leadership. I had all those fancy graphs, charts, a beautifully made presentation, which took probably 2 weeks of time. And my CEO was very patiently listening, but using his phone. He just looked up to me and said, okay, Saurabh, so how do I behave differently on Monday? I had no answer. I just went cold. So I think with data being so much available, it almost is of no use if it does not convert to change in behavior. And I think that is what I intend to interpret with the stalwarts I have with me. And I'm hoping that they help us understand, how, from data to decisions, how can we quickly traverse this journey? And, what's the power of people analytics? And how can we really leverage on that? So that's going to be a very, very simple, action-focused discussion which I intend to make. My first question to you guys, or probably, I would love you guys to give that in like 30 to 40 seconds, is what's one people decision you made recently where data truly changed the outcome? I mean, it's for all three of you. You can go in any sequence, but yeah.
Okay, thanks, Saurabh. One key decision, people decision where data really changed what we did was a deeper analysis of employee separation and retention of key people. Not retention of everybody, but the key people. We found out through the analysis and the analytics, and I have Sanchit Patil, my colleague, sitting here. He's a 3-year-old person in the industry, joined us as a management trainee and did all the analytics. Today, he leads the analytics for us. And he came out with this and said that there are certain trends to be observed from there, and if we address it, we can keep the key performers within the organization fold. Of course, there are softer aspects which need to be taken care of, which obviously would be taken care of. But apart from that, how do you balance it was something which we came out from that.
Thank you, Shaurya. Any other comments?
Hi, everyone. So I'm possibly more like an oddball here on this panel, not a CHRO by profession. But then again, I'm somebody who talks a lot to the CHROs and helps them achieve their goals and outcomes. I'm a product strategist. So one of the large retail clients that we were working with, they ended up analyzing a lot of their managerial data across their storefronts, along with the shift data, absences data, and a host of other signals that they had. And the fun thing that came out of it was that based on the insights which churned out, they replicated that across a lot of different other storefronts, thereby not just increasing employee engagement, increasing employee productivity, but making those strategic shifts to increase the outcomes and profitability as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So one of the areas where we were successful, I'll talk about Tech Mahindra. See, Tech Mahindra had enabled AI in various parts of HR. So we were successful in onboarding, we were successful in employee engagement, we were successful in induction, training. Only one place where we were not successful was succession planning. And that's the place where we actually, deep dived into the entire process and used data as well as AI extensively. And I will be, I'm very proud to say that the future leaders which we identified, they actually are there still with the organization, working with us and contributing. So the point what I'm trying to make is that previously maybe our data capture, the data capturing was not efficient enough. But after AI, when we could identify the 2 future leaders, out of them, one of them you see in the leadership forums everywhere. So that was the great contribution of AI.
Thank you, Shilpa. My argument to you guys is, all of us have data. All companies have data, tremendous data. And I was having this conversation while traveling to Mumbai today. And one of the senior leaders, she mentioned to me that, Saurabh, I've got data coming from every possible system. Now, the challenge is how do we integrate that? They say that a lot of companies have data, fewer have insights, and even fewer change their decisions. So my question to you guys is, where do you think organizations struggle the most? Collecting data, interpreting it, or acting on it? And, let's keep this brutally honest. I hope that, disclaimer, these are personal opinions. They're not associated with the organization. But let's keep it honest and brutal so that, we take away something
Thank
from
you
it.
for that clarification.
Okay, so we have the backing, right?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to be honest. Okay, I'll take the example of Datamatics and NSC. These are my 2 ex-organizations prior to Tech Mahindra. Collection of data is a very simple thing. I think in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, or maybe if you give 1 day time to any junior person, he will collect the data. Interpretation also, it's possible. When we have this age group of 3 to 7 years, 8 years, they will easily do the interpretation for us. Now comes the catch. That is implementation. So my observation was that my senior management was not open to the ideas what HR had, and we really struggled because there was a mindset issue. So ultimately, we took 5-6 months of time to change the entire thought process that whatever we are trying to do now is going to be value addition for the organization, not for a specific HR department or maybe admin department. So there, once that, whatever mindset change happened, actually things were properly implemented. So for me, the most difficult thing was the last step.
Sorry, I have a little different question for you related to this. Help me understand, did you ever change a decision, not just the HR policy, related to this? Basically, can you share one example where people analytics directly changed the entire business landscape, not just a policy?
It actually did for us. But let me just tell you something. I'll just go back to your original question. For us, I think, and maybe many other organizations, getting the data itself is a challenge. Firstly, because when you get the data, you're fighting with numerous silos within the organization. Turfs, not silos. Turfs. Data is my area. Once you get the data, people understand it. But when you act on it, there's a fear of something going away. You have to address that first. Data cannot be in isolation of people's sentiments and people issues. You have to take both together. If you insist on data, and people aspect comes secondary, it will not work. Business decisions for us, a lot of them have been affected positively because of analysis. And it's not just about HR policy. I'll give you one quick example. The way we do our headcount budgeting for the next year, that itself has undergone a huge change with the help of data and analytics. Not to say that we weeded out people, but we have repurposed many of them. And that somewhere has helped the organization to scale up.
Sure, thank you. Setu, another practical insight. Have you ever, in your journey, seen that data is ignored because it was inconvenient? And how did you deal with that? Did you go back to the stakeholder CHRO and say that, hey, you know what, you cannot ignore this? Can you give us some insight on
I'm
that?
tempted to say something.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've already given you the
The only
disclaimer.
time data is ignored is when you have to give a pay hike.
So firstly, yes, definitely agree to that. That whenever it comes to budgets, whenever it comes to compensation, there are multiple deliberations and iterations. But coming back to the question, so at different levels of the organization. So say for example, at operational level, when at times the data gives out an insight or probes them to make a decision. That's where they say, at times you hear that phrase, so what? Okay, I mean, fair. I mean, your graph charts and all the analysis is looking great, but then again, so what? So that is at times impedance to take a decision or to take that leap. That where there is lesser empowerment. Taking a leaf out of some of the earlier conversations as well, there is lesser psychological safety within the HR organization itself, not just across the organization. So that is where it hurts. When you talk about it at a leadership level, and you hear a conversation starting with the phrase, in my experience, we close our laptop and we rush. Because that is where the the data is of no use, because somebody is going to definitely overpower the discussion there in light of some of the experiential learnings which have happened. What has worked very well is similar to, I think, any sales conversation or any other conversation that you all may have had, that you firstly reach out to the right stakeholders, you map the room, you give them a pre-read material saying that, okay, this is what we are going to do. Happy to have some of your comments, questions, objections beforehand, and thereafter reach out to them. So a meeting before the meeting always helps to ensure that there is a little more concurrence. Lastly, not just within the HR department, but within the business as well. Once you have the accountability mapped, that is where the momentum follows.
Sure, thank you. Probably, and I'll butt in with a couple of examples from my own organization. So we at Crafton, we host the largest and the biggest game in the country, which we call that as a heartbeat of India, which is BGMI. And one of the analytics which actually helped us or continues to help us is our own employee experience of playing the game. That kind of drives tremendous change from a business strategy standpoint. What collaborations would work, what features could work, and our employees get to kind of first-hand experience it. That is where I have very, very prominently seen data changing the entire business perspective and employees being pivotal to that. I think that's how I've kind of looked at it. Moving on, there was a rush that AI is going to come. There was a rush that, things will change. To now where AI is part of our team. At Crafton, my onboarding moved from 1.5 days to 13 seconds in terms of onboarding them to the system. So it's no longer, a part of gonna be cycle. It is already there. And I think how we have to make it smarter is the next challenge. So where are you practically using AI today in the people space? And probably, Shaurya, will start with you on this, and then the other panelists can chip in.
So we launched our first AI-powered chatbot in 2024. We named it AVA, calling it Aptech Virtual HR Assistant. So this little thing solves all employee queries. And we did not reduce headcount. But yes, when someone left, we did not replace. So that's the way it helped. The way we are also targeting automation is to reduce exit turnaround time. Earlier, it was 45 days with the new wage code and labor code coming in. It's just 2 days. You have to settle everything. So for us, right now, we are aiming to reduce the time taken for the exit process. Apart from that, the most important is we have developed in-house bite-size learning modules. They are not more than 4 minutes because that is what the new generation, or why new generation, even people like us, we can consume at a moment. You know, that's what registers with us in our brains. So that is something which we use a variety of tools, including 11AI and for the voice, and there's Copilot and a lot of other things, Canva AI to turn it into a video and all. And all of this is being done by the internal team. Yes, the content is first curated, discussed across. And here I would just take a minute to explain. You mentioned about discussing with your internal stakeholders. It is so very important, and this I learned in one of my earlier organizations. The word used was socializing, and I used to wonder, ये socializing क्या होता है भाई? I mean, decision लिया है तो करो. But Anupama was an HR advisor there, and she explained it to me beautifully. If you want to get the outcome you want, socialize your idea first. And that really helps, be it data or whatever. Sorry for the digression, and sorry for taking your name without permission, Anupama. But, you know, sitting right there, and it came to me. The other thing where we are using AI is basically when you get the CVs for any position, checking the candidate, whatever the candidate has written in the CV with the job description, whether it matches. The first level of filtration is done there. And secondly, after the process, when the psychometric assessment happens, the entire behavioral summarization is done there. And that is also matched with what the respective business verticals requirements are, as also the current team, whether this person is going to settle in. So a kind of a cultural fitment there.
Beautiful. Any other thoughts? I also have some add-on questions to that. So, you know, along with that, do you believe, have you seen that AI has improved the decisions?
Definitely. I mean, we are a tech-driven organization, and we do drink our own champagne, as we call it. So what does happen is that over a period of time, I think we are our biggest consumers as well, our biggest customers. 150 plus countries, about 1.5 lakh plus employees globally. So we possibly have every practical challenge that the industry faces. And that's where we have used AI. We are at the 4th generation of AI evolution, and that's where we have ensured that it is ingrained in almost everything that we do. And that's also, you know, a part of being in a race to be there. And so right from, say, for example, candidate coaching, which is having like a personalized coach for a candidate, right from his application process to preparing interview to his negotiation of offers until onboarding everything together, at the same time continuing and being with the person going forward as well. So that is something which has been there, including you know, the training and development, how he or she wants to chart his career path and the likes. So I think that is something which has been the most pervasive use of AI that we have had beyond people analytics.
Lovely. Shilpa, you know, add-on question to this is, what is that one real risk which an HR leader sees into implementing AI? Because, you know, when I get an opportunity to talk to a lot of very, very senior leaders, and then some juniors as well, for them AI is still Gen AI tools, and it's probably restricted to, say, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and that is where it ends. So what is that one real risk which HR leaders actually carry right now? And what is that change in skill pattern you observe as a fractional CHRO working with so many organizations? How do you see that skill evolving?
Okay, first of all, the myth, you know, actually it's a wrong thought process what people have, that AI is going to replace our job. So the first job what I do is, like, you know, basically sit with them and try to tell them that no, it's not here as a replacement. This is as a catalyst for us. It's basically up to you how you look at the overall implementation of AI. See, simple example, employee engagement. Today we speak about mental well-being, mental wellness. These are the catchwords in every conference, every seminar. But this was always there, but not under this brand name, not under this particular terminology. So we used to do employee engagement activities and used to use AI over there maybe 6 years back. And we had developed various programs where our employee engagement, actually where it used to be like 40-50% of people used to actually come ahead. Their awareness level increased, they started participating, and these programs, they actually went on till 90-95%. So that is the way people actually understood, and we had done the best use of AI over there. That's one. Second, if you see our day-to-day thing, if AI was a threat, do you think our talent acquisition would have been so effective today? Instead of 50 recruiters, today you can work with 5 recruiters. I know it's bad on the other part. It's a job threat for many, but today, with 5 recruiters, you're able to do the onboarding of 1,000 people and 2,000 people very easily. Why? Because of the chatbots and because of the proper screenings what AI has. So you don't have to actually look at 50-60 resumes today. So according to me, I don't see that as a threat. And as an HR, I really welcome AI. So I think it's again a mindset thing, as a perception thing. That's it.
Sure.
If I can just add one line to it, something that Alex mentioned in the morning was that if you are not agile, you are fragile.
Absolutely. I mean, that's...
I loved that saying.
Yeah, you took away words from my mouth. I just wanted to say that I have a contrary view. AI will take away our jobs, and there's no doubt about it. But I think it will take away only if we want it to take away. I think that's how I look at it. And one of the fascination which my team at Krafton has these days got is publishing dashboards of all sort of data, and that's just going crazy. And that's where and that is where I love Shaurya what you said, and I call this as Hume AI. How do you integrate humans with AI, and then only look at what is really relevant for the business, and you socialize before you take it to the business. Otherwise, then it's a fiasco because you open a can of worms, which then it's impossible to close. I think that's where the challenge of lies for leaders. How do you kind of channelize that energy of the team to present what is really required, what is impactful, and how we can make that change. I think that's where I look at it. My second question, which I had for Shilpa, on the skill part, do you guys want to talk about anything before we move towards the last segment? What skills do you think, as an HR leader, as a people leader, or as a business leader, we need to change in ourselves?
So with the advent of AI, a lot of system of records which were traditionally there are changing into system of outcomes. It is dramatically changing the future of tasks that individuals do, future of skills that individuals have, as well as the future of work. So even from an HR perspective, be it AI or anything else, I think the idea would be to get rid of the fear of experimentation, or more importantly, be vulnerable. That is one skill that I would recommend, because with AI, I think all of us will have to think big, start small, and move extremely fast. So to underscore, I think vulnerability would be one thing that I would recommend.
This is a very beautiful, positive terminology to vulnerability. That and I love that. If you're fragile, you're agile.
You're not agile, you are
fragile. Yeah. So that's something which I'm going to use for sure. Sure.
Credit for that goes to Alex. Not me. Yeah.
In all of this, I think, AI is a given. It'll only evolve, it'll only hasten how we use it in business. And if the business doesn't use it, we are dead. Second, I think the human aspect should be built in. There may be resistance from section of people who will not address. You got to explain to them, don't force it down their throat. Explain to them, help them scale up. Because understand, today we are working with multiple generations, classified generations at the workplace. You know, even when I joined the workforce, I would have been categorized as a Gen Z, what today is. But, you know, those days we never had those classifications. These days we have. So understanding the human aspect is very, very critical. AI will not work if we ignore or sideline the human aspect. That's my take.
Sure. Shilpa, anything to add?
Yeah, very much. The buy-in of all the departments has to be there if you have to implement something. This is something which I very much agree, and I have actually practically dealt with it also, where we have gone ahead and convinced the CEOs and the CIOs of the organization. And talking about skills, I take skill development as a byproduct of AI. Because upskilling we all knew, but today in my current organization as a part of, as a CHRO, I am working a lot on cross-skilling. So actually we are identifying people from different departments, putting them on specific projects. This is something which I've learned from my ex-organizations. They had best practices, like Datamatics, if anyone from Datamatics. They have this Eagle program. So this is something which I've learned from Eagle, where people, one person from finance, one from admin, one from technical, one from sales, we all are there on the project. Our project was to increase the revenue from X to Y. Now just imagine an HR person sitting over there and contributing and talking about all, you know, talking about sales, talking about the top line, bottom line. But ultimately we did, and we were the winners. So that is a concept which I've taken from Datamatics, and I'm, you know, implementing in my current organization, which is certainly along with AI. So it's a mix of AI plus this cross-skilling which is giving us results today.
Thank you, Shilpa. Last question to all of you before we move to a micro session before we close, is how do you connect people metrics to business, and basically how do you influence the CEO?
Well, you can't influence the CEO. He comes with a different mindset altogether.
That's possible. I've done.
Having said that, I'll give you my view. I report into the board. So the challenge for me is to influence the board. What clearly comes is you tell them these are the outcomes. First the conclusion, then the process. That works beautifully for me. If I tell them first the process, they will lose interest. So I think the same mindset goes for the CEO as well. You say what are the outcomes or the possible outcomes and how it works. So that really helps. I may have tons of data. It doesn't mean anything to them because they have only so much of time. And in that time, you got to get what you want.
Sure.
I think one challenge that we all have now and going forward as well, to ask AI to solve higher order problems. Now we all have been asking it, okay, you know, tell me the cost of hire or time to hire and, you know, the number of hours of training and learning and all of that. The idea is to go outcome based as is mentioned as well. And that's where, be it the CEO or the board, you give them one option and one suggestion to begin with. Obviously, if that falls flat, you do have plan B and plan C as well. But then again, I think that's what you start with in terms of giving clear, consistent metrics as well as outcome-driven action plan.
Oh, that's beautiful. And, you know, thanks to Anupama for that socializing aspect, and Shaurya for bringing it. I think, you know, beyond all of this, you know, the Hume AI leadership speaks about that, you know, you need to kind of be a human first, get your data together, but then, you know, do pre-meetings or do pre-conversations. And that's where those, you know, hallway conversations, coffee conversations will help you a lot, because you need to have your own influencers who are part of the decision making. Obviously, you're part of the decision making, but then you need to have more influencers as well. Yeah. So that's where I look at it. You know, I've got a rapid fire. I mean, they say, you know, you cannot, you know, close a panel discussion without a rapid fire. So I've got some rapid fires for you guys.
Part of the syllabus, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what.
This is out of syllabus.
See, that's what HR is meant for, right? That
Agile, right? We spoke about
exactly.
agility.
He spoke about being agile. You'll be fragile. So, you know, very simple rapid fires, which you can answer here. You don't have to go off record. So the first one is, in 5 years, HR will be more dash than dash. HR will be more dash than dash?
I think HR will continue to be more and more of a strategic business partner and have a slightly bigger and a better seat at the table or at the board than anything else.
One overhyped trend in people analytics.
One overhype.
Trend in people analytics.
That all decisions can be driven with the help of AI.
One shift HR leaders in the room should make starting today.
Sorry.
One shift HR leaders in this room should start today.
Get to know the business in and out, behave like a business professional, not as an HR professional.
Definitely.
What's one metric HR teams over focus on?
HR teams, they always over-focus on the actual time spent in office rather than the productivity. So that's the mindset which has to be changed.
The last one, what's that one people metric every leader should be obsessed about? And I need an answer from all of you.
Cost.
No, it's people. People are very important. You have to take care of them.
I would say cost to productivity.
That's a,
Cost to productivity.
I was rather
definitely.
blunt.
You can't have only cost or only productivity.
you know, he purely played his role of being the product strategist. He just combined both their views and presented a beautiful outcome. So thank you for that, Setu. Thank you, panelists. It was really wonderful knowing your thoughts. 30 minutes is definitely a very short span for stalwarts like you to share your perspective. But I hope that the audience and me, we have taken some actionable insights. I think from my perspective, it's very simple. If there's one takeaway from today, it's data will give HR a voice, and it will continue to give us a louder voice in the room. AI will give us scale, will give us speed, will take away a lot of routine aspects. But it's going to be our judgment, it's going to be our Hume AI approach, which will keep us ahead and which will retain our position, on the table, is how I look at it. They say data informs, AI accelerates, but it's only leaders who make decisions and make use of that data. So I hope that all of us move on to become Hume AI leaders and embrace this change with generosity and humbleness, and do what we are supposed to do, work for people. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.